Okay, are you guys ready for clay? I know you are. I've been getting excited thinking of all the fun things we're gonna make this year. We're gonna create a Locust Grove lion out of a slab. So a slab is a flat piece of clay. That's what a slab is. And you're gonna need 2 templates or patterns to cut your basic pieces. Make sure that when you get your template or your pattern placed, put it kind of close to the edge. Not all the way, because sometimes the clay is a little thinner over there, but close enough that you can fit both pieces easily. So you're gonna hold your template down and you're gonna take your pin tool. Remember that this is very sharp, so we never wanna touch or have this point facing anybody or anything except for the clay, but it will cut. So hold this down and take this hand to push through the slab until you feel the table, which I do, and I'm gonna just drag. Sometimes I think it's easier to drag toward yourself. You get a smoother line than if I pushed away. And so instead of just going all the way around, I'm going to now go over here and cut. Okay, you can even remove pieces by placing this down, going all the way to your edges, and this will then come right off. You could either do that as you go, or you could do it at the end. And then just make sure I'm in position. Take your pin tool and go fully around, wiping the tool off like that, okay? Then I'm ready to work on the piece that's going to be the lion's face. So place that on your leftover clay, hold it down. This time I'm gonna start all the way up here just so that I can cut a piece off. Watch how that works. If I went all the way from edge to edge, this is now loose and it'll move. And wipe the pin tool. Come back, cut all the way over so that will remove. Wipe the pin tool. Ow, don't poke yourself by accident like I just did, because it actually does hurt. All the way over. And one more time. Okay. So you've got your 2 pieces here, which is the basic structure for the face. Leave this alone. Don't roll it up in a ball or anything, because we might want to use that for the nose and some of those things, and it's already good and flat, so leave that alone. I'm going to gently move my face piece for a moment and take the lion's mane close to me. These little bumpity rough edges, they might not seem like much now, but when this goes in the kiln, which is the oven that will fire this and make it permanent, that can get really sharp. And especially this year, some of us will be using glazes, and glaze has glass in it, and it'll make those things even sharper. So it really does matter that we smooth that out. I just stuck my finger into my slip cup and got a little bit of water, teeny little bit, and with a light pressure I can smooth that. And if I want to get rid of these bumps, I could smooth that too. But I'm not pushing down. If I push down, then what'll happen is this, if I push, will get way too skinny, it'll be breakable, and that's not what I want. So you can smooth with a gentle pressure and not be pushing so hard, okay? So there's my mane. Now, before I attach, actually maybe after my face, I'll smooth, because that way if I'm holding it, it won't create too much of an issue. You have to figure out your placement before you attach this. So if it's too high, it looks weird, and the problem is you don't have very much mane. It will hang off a bit, but you want to just figure out, about how much do I think? So I'm almost going to go about halfway down, which is right here. Just kind of get your bearings first. In other words, get what you're thinking. Make sure it's fairly centered. And then before I attach it, I better take my pin tool and kind of lightly trace, really lightly. That way, when I pick this up, I know where I need to score and slip. I don't want to be guessing. That wouldn't do me any good. So I've traced. Remember that scoring and slipping is how you attach one piece to another. Now this is a big attachment, much bigger than what some of the other classes are doing. So that's a whole lot of scoring that I need to do. And scoring is simply taking the tool and making some marks in there. Don't be afraid to get them a little bit deep, not so deep that you're carving through it, but a little bit deep, because what happens is that slip gets down into those little indentations and it fuses to your other piece. So that actually is helpful. You want to take some slip and kind of put it on there generously. Don't rub it around. That's not going to do us any good. If you rub it around, then you're erasing all that scoring that we just did. We don't want that to happen. So I'm just putting some chunks on, and I am kind of spreading it a little bit, but I'm not pushing and rubbing. I'm just gently, gently, gently spreading it a little bit. Okay? Then take your piece, flip it, because that's the way that it's going to fit. I need to score this pretty deep. I don't necessarily have to go all the way down because this is hanging off. So that's the reason why I'm not going all the way down. If I do, that'll just get rough and scratchy. But I'm going to score the top, get up to my edges. That already has slip. The scoring always needs to flip to face the other scoring. So you put that on there. And I do want to push, but I don't want to smash. So I'm using almost this part of my hand to give some gentle pressure. If you smash, you're going to start losing the shape of the face. The whole thing is going to become a big mess. So push firmly, but not smash. And then once that's on there, I'm going to do the same thing I did to these edges. I'm going to try to press a bit. And if any of my edges got kind of funky, straighten them out carefully, because I don't want to lose this shape. This. And just check the edges. Just your finger even will do the trick. You don't need a ton of water. That just becomes a slippery disaster. Okay, and if there's any goop, you can grab that like so. The next thing I'm going to do is build the eyes and the ears and the face before we move on to details in the mane. So I'm going to really carefully, you don't need to move yours unless it's in the way, but I wanted to move mine just a little bit while I'm working on my other pieces. I'm going to take a little ball of clay and get 2 eyes ready. So first of all, I kind of need to see about how big I want them. Roll it in your hands. If you choose to roll it on the table at all, that's much better than the canvas, because the canvas is drying and it'll just make it crack. So you can roll it like that. I'm going to flatten them out, and I'm noticing that this is way too big for 2 eyes. So I'm going to probably take my pin tool, cut that in half, start over with that new amount, roll it, take this part of your hand, flatten it just a little bit, kind of like a cookie, and then hold that up. And I'm gonna take a look at it before I even make anything permanent. You don't want to make it permanent until you like it. Okay, so I think those eyes are still too big for me. You might love the bigger eyes, and if you do, that's the thing. Each person needs to pick what they like, what looks good to them as the artist. But I wanted some more spacing. 1, that's much better for me anyway. Roll it, flatten it, make sure they're about equal. So if you notice, this one is kind of way bigger, and I can fix that by taking some clay off. Start over, roll it, flatten it, compare it. Okay, I think I'm happy with my eyes, so I need to slip and score them. That's the attachment method. So right where I want the eye to be, I'm just kind of double checking my placement. Score. Take the back of the eye, score. Remember to make those deep. Stick your finger in the slip. You need some of this nice soft gooiness. Kind of put it on like that, but don't push at it, just put it on. And then place scoring, matching scoring. Push that down. If you hear a little bit of a goopy sound, that's good. It means that it's attaching. Take some water, smooth out the cracks in the eye. Don't worry too much about anything else there yet. Place my other eye. So I kind of want to mark where that's going to go. That way I know where to score, and I'm not guessing. Score the back of the eye. Some of that nice wet slip, not just water, okay? Put that on there. Maybe wipe if there's too much. Press gently, you don't want to smash it. I could take a finger, get some of that off. If I need to. Take some water just to smooth the cracks. It looks so much nicer that way. Don't worry too much about all this gunk. That can be fixed later. It's not, you know, a big deal. Okay, gentle fingers like that. Make sure they're lined up. Okay, before I do anything else, I'm ready to add the lion's nose, and I want to use some scrap that I asked you to save. It's already flat, which is the really nice thing here. And I'm kind of holding it up just so I can envision or think in my mind about how big I want this to be. I'm gonna use this part of my hand that's really good for pushing. We've used it several times, and I'm just gonna tap this a little bit because I don't think that I need the nose quite that thick. I don't think that's necessary, so by tapping it, I'm making that a little bit thinner. And I'm ready to cut a triangle for a nose. I might start off a little bit bigger because I'll either like it, or if I don't, I can trim this instead of making 500 different triangles that, oh, I don't like that, I don't like that. If this was too big, I could just cut more off of that. But I think I'm gonna do kind of a nice size nose, for me anyway. I don't want it too tiny, I want it to be visible. Okay, give it a little more of a tap tap. Clean up my edge. Check it out. And then I'm ready to attach the nose, and I want to mark it again. I need to know where this belongs. So I'm tracing, scoring, score the back, take some slip, make sure you get some nice gooey wet slip. Okay. I'm just trying to get some of the extra off, but I'm not rubbing it on there. That's not going to be helpful. Put the nose in place. Wipe your hands if you need to, either on a towel or on this cloth, because I don't want them super goopy. Press, and I'm actually even going to stick my hand a little bit under his face because there's nothing under there. The circle's up here holding it, so I have to be kind of careful about pressing down here. Press gently. Okay, smoothing the edges with your fingers. My next step is to add a little bit of detail to the eyes and the little mouth area. So with the eyes, I think I'm going to take a marker cap and I'm going to press that in. You want to press enough that you can see it. So press down a little bit. It's better to see it than not see it. Okay. And then I like a little bit of a highlight. So I'm going to take either the bottom of my pen tool, or I happen to have a stick here, and I'm going to take that little circle and I'm going to press again for a highlight. Maybe make that a little bit deeper. And then I've got some cute little eyes there. Okay. For your little mouth area, we have some, these are called loop tools because they actually have a little loop there, and I need to get a piece of clay out. And what it does is it carves. From the tip of the nose, I'm going to come down and then remove this little piece here, and I'm going to come this way. And the reason I grabbed onto the edges is I need to be careful down here. There's no circle underneath to hold that up, so if I'm pushing too hard, I'm going to crush the whole thing. And then, again, supporting this and come this way. This is cool for carving, and you want to carve deep enough to where it's down in there. It's recessed. That word means kind of goes down, but not so deep that this is falling apart. Okay, and then take a little bit of water, just a little bit. Try to smooth your edges. Gentle, gentle, gentle. If you wanted any, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that on here, but if you wanted any little kind of like freckly things, I don't know exactly what those are, little circles, you could do that. Or if you wanted to put a couple whiskers or something, you could. I think I'm going to leave mine, at least for now, until I think about it. Gentle, just cleaning things up a little bit. Okay. Now, before we do the mane, I need to add my little triangle ears. And I have more left over, so that's great. I want to use my pen tool to cut. You can always wipe it like this, which is a good thing. And if you wipe it, that doesn't hurt anything to get the gunk off. Then you have a cleaner tip. I need need 2 small triangle ears. Again, I think I'm gonna tap this a little bit flatter and just kind of figure out my size by holding that up. If I want them identical, and it doesn't have to be, but if I did, I could, or close, I could lay this down and trace it. There's no reason why it has to be identical. Get my 2 pieces. Okay. I'm ready to place them by scoring and slipping. So I'm going to mark where this is. That way I know, hopefully you guys can see that good. Don't lift yours up, I'm just showing you. I marked where that is so that I can score. Score. Take some slip. So excited about our clay pieces this year, you guys. I think we've got some really fun, cute things. Press gently. I'm using this finger because it's clean. I don't want to use my goopy finger. Gentle push. Never smushing it. If you smush it, you're kind of going to wreck your whole thing. So gentle. And then I can use my wet finger to smooth if I wanted to. And then, touching up, come over here, mark where this goes. Trace that, score both parts always because they need to fuse together. So this scoring will fuse onto that scoring with the help of the slip, which is clay glue. So put that on, press. It's not lining up just right, but you know what? Your finger's almost like an eraser, that if it doesn't, you can erase what you don't want. So cute, so fun. I'm excited about it. The little whisk, or what were those things? Sorry, Miss Whites. If you wanted the little things you could press like that, I think that's kind of cute. And then my final steps are I think I'm going to make a little line in the ears. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I think it's just for me a little bit more detail. Pick that up so you can see it. Try not to pick yours up as much as possible, but I just put a little line like that. And then what you can do, let me try to get this facing you, is section off the background of the mane. So either the pin tool or I just have this wood tool here. I'm drawing lines from the center out. And then I think personally, you could leave it if you want to. Again, every artist has a different thought. You could leave it, or I think I might kind of just experiment with pattern and texture and make a variety of line types just to add interest. So each one of my sections has a different line type. Or you could even say, hey, I want the same line type all the way around. Or you could say, I want to do wavy, straight, because you might not want a million different line types. Everybody's got to kind of think it through. If you didn't like what you did, remember your finger can almost erase just by gently going like this. So the cool thing is there is no major mess ups like, oh, I don't like this. You can erase it. So cute, so fun. And then my last one, I might go back to those zigzags. Could practice it on paper if you're not sure. Sometimes it feels like it's permanent. That is so cute, you guys. Oh my gosh. And then what I will do at the end is I'm going to help you put 2 holes up here so that we can put something in to hang this. And we got to put our name on the back too. So Miss White's trying to be really careful here about the holes. 1. You could start it if you want to. That might be not a bad idea. Push that all the way down. You could start the holes, but then let me help you pick this up and get the holes through. I just want to be really cautious or careful that we're not accidentally dropping it or breaking it after all your beautiful hard work. Okay, so we've got the holes on them, and this is so cute. When it's dry, we'll put like a pipe cleaner and we can hang it. Okay, and of course, name on the back. So I very, very carefully flipped it. Take your pen tool. I'm going to write Miss White. Don't dig it super deep, because actually that becomes scratchy. Just write it. You absolutely positively should have your class code on there. I don't have a class code, but you should, because when I've got 100 lions in the kiln, we want to make certain that yours is not lost. And having that class code, especially for this, is like the #1 helpful thing, that when I'm looking for somebody's work, I can find it. And there you go. Isn't that the most darling little lion you've ever seen?